Hey you guys, it's Peter and welcome. I don't know what to welcome you to because I'm not really sure what this channel is going to be called moving forward, because previously it was called Peter's Reality TV Recaps and Opinions, better known as And That's My Opinion with Peter Mon. And it was strictly reality TV. But if you watch my last video, what I announced is that I am going to be covering all TV shows over here that I am watching and doing reviews of all kinds of TV shows over here. For example, I'm currently in the middle of Unlocked, which just came out on Netflix. I think it's like #1 in the United States right now, and it is about prison reform, and it is a documentary that follows one jail, and I think it's in Arkansas or Alabama, and they try to do something different within this jail system, and it's very interesting. It's probably one of the best shows I've seen in a long time, and it has 8 episodes, and I just finished episode 4 late last night, so I'm going to watch the other 4 episodes tonight, and then I'll probably do a review of it over here tomorrow or the next day talking about it. So I'm covering all TV shows over here. So I'm not really sure what to call this channel anymore because it's not going to just be reality TV. Now, any movies that I talk about, so for those of you that are interested, on my Peter Does Stuff channel, I am doing a movie club where once a week on Fridays, I announce a movie that we're all going to watch together that was something that I watched when I was growing up or in high school or college, something that I loved from my past, you know, even later than that maybe, and we're all watching it on Tubi because Tubi is a free streaming service. Anybody can download it. It's going international in the next few months. You don't have to pay. There's always rumors coming out that they're going to start charging. That's not true. They're not going to start charging. It's a completely free streaming service. And so over there I'm doing the Peter's Movie Club or Peter's Friday Night Movies or whatever. I haven't even decided on a name on that yet. I think I'm going to call it Peter's Movie Club or Peter Movies or whatever. But anyway, the first week we watched Night of the Comet, which came out I think in 1984, 87, and that was in getting prepared for the eclipse. And then this week we are watching Welcome Home, Roxy Carmichael with Winona Ryder. I already watched it. I watched it this weekend. It was fantastic. It came out in October of 1990. I remember watching it when it first came out. And so, yeah, so I'm picking movies like from my past. Some of them are like really great movies. Some of them are D-list movies. Some of them are movies that probably should be better forgotten, but are hilarious or, you know, for some reason, you know, affected me in some way or another. But they're all movies that, for one reason or another, that I loved, whether they were movies that my parents loved, that they passed on to me, or there's a lot of like older movies on there, but then there's a lot of newer movies on, not newer like in the last 5 years, but like in the 90s to 2000s and stuff like that. So anyway, so that's fun. And then any movie reviews that I do will be on my review channel, but all TV shows will be over here. So any TV show in the entire world, well, true crime I'll probably talk about on my Peter Mon channel because I'm doing true crime now over there. But any TV shows will be over here. I might even actually cover some true crime documentaries and things like that over here if you guys are interested in that, because I watch a lot of those. I actually just watched on Netflix What Jennifer Did. I think it's like the #1 movie, and it was this documentary that just came out recently on Netflix, and I just watched that this weekend as well. Today's video is a reality TV video because I want to talk about LaLa Kent from Vanderpump Rules. There are rumors that she is possibly going to be on the next season of The Valley, if The Valley gets renewed. I'm watching both Vanderpump Rules and The Valley. I have this video that I scripted, it was going to be one of my first videos over here about Vanderpump Rules, and that when I think that Vanderpump Rules actually died. I'm not sure if this is going to be the last season or next season is going to be the last season, but I think that Vanderpump Rules, as we know it, is probably pretty much over. It's so boring. Like, it's on tonight. I'm not even excited about it. I have to tell you, though, I did start watching Vanderpump Villa, and I really am enjoying Vanderpump Villa. I think it's very staged. I think it's very scripted. I think it's very corny, but it kind of reminds me of Below Deck meets the early days of Vanderpump Rules a little bit, and so I'm really enjoying that. We also know that Lisa Vanderpump is coming back to the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills as a friend. And so I believe that Lisa Vanderpump is kind of like branching out into other things. I think she knows Vanderpump Rules is dead as well. And so I think that a lot of the people that are on Vanderpump Rules are looking for other outlets. I think Brittany Cartwright even said something to the effect of, like, if she'd be happy if LaLa came over to the show The Valley. LaLa Kent just bought I don't know how long, $1.6 million, $4.6 million home or something like that in the Valley. So it would make sense for her to be on that show. To be honest with you, Vanderpump Rules doesn't even really make a lot of sense to me anymore. Lisa Vanderpump is almost never on it. They don't show Sir. It's literally all about the people that started together working there. And this entire season, I think, as we all expected, I didn't expect it to be this much about it, if you want to know the truth. But it's all about Sandoval. It's all about Tom Sandoval and Ariana and their breakup and his cheating with Raquel, Rachel, and on and on and on. The whole season is about that. And it's kind of overkill at this point. I'm so tired of it. But an intricate player in all of that is LaLa Kent, who's been kind of stuck in the middle and is getting a lot of criticism for originally reaching out to Rachel at the beginning of the season and trying to contact her. And then she's gone back and forth between this whole situation with wanting to befriend Tom Sandoval and forgive Tom Sandoval and holding Ariana, you know, like, to this standard of, like, you need to move on and blah, 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 whatever. And so a couple days ago, I was reading this thing, and it was on the Queens of Bravo, which is one of my favorite accounts to follow on Twitter and Instagram. And they posted a picture of LaLa Kent talking to Joe, probably one of my least favorite characters of Vanderpump Rules. I think that's the other thing about Vanderpump Rules, is it's so obvious when these people come on there and they just want to be on the show. Like, Joe, to me, obviously just wants to be on the show. Like, she's causing a lot of drama and whatever. And even though I feel sorry for her that she had feelings for Tom Schwartz that were not reciprocated, she's a grown adult that, you know, chose to be in this situation. You know, I was watching it. Alex and I, my husband and I, we watched Vanderpump Rules together, and I was watching it, and there, like, in the previous episode, Tom Schwartz was telling Joe that he was going to go to this, like, singles, like, meetup thing to meet singles. And she was like, oh, you are? And he's like, yeah, do you want to go with me? And she was like, yeah, I guess. And he was like, okay, so we can go together. And they even joke about, like, meeting people. Then they go to the singles thing, and she's upset that he's talking to other girls there. And so it's kind of very much just forcing the storyline. I'm not really sure. And she's been in this friend group for a while. She was really good friends with Kristen Doty. Katie doesn't really like her. I think that things that Katie has said about her are really, really harsh. I can also understand Katie's point of view as a kind of scorned ex-wife who, I'm not saying there's anything right about what she said, and I'm not saying, this is a whole other conversation, okay? Katie wanted to kiss the girl, the babysitter of Sheena, and the date of Schwartz, and all that kind of stuff. I think she's got her own motives for that, but I can understand her being upset with Joe, who sent her a very nice message and then was hopping into bed with her ex-husband. That would piss me off too. I'm just, take that as an isolated incident. I'm not a big lover of this Joe character, and I think Joe really wants, I mean, season 1 got confessionals, you know, and all these people are getting confessionals very, very early, and the assistant, who I adore, she's gotten confessionals, and so it's like they're really, really reaching for characters for Vanderpump Rules, and I think that it's always people like, so the babysitter that, Sheena's babysitter that is now dating Katie, but is also dating Schwartz, okay? It's so obvious to me that she really just wants to be on the show. And I don't know if it seems that way to anybody else. So when I read this about production, and we now are hearing all these allegations that Tom Sandoval with production pushed a storyline of he and Rachel together to help the survival of Vanderpump Rules, you're starting to wonder really, or I'm starting to wonder really, like, what is the production pushing behind the scenes and whatever. And so I read this on Queens of Bravo, and it says, the problem with LaLa this season is that she looks like a production puppet. 1 minute, Rachel is garbage. The next, LaLa calls her. 1 minute, Sandoval is a groomer, but now she wants to work on a friendship. Now she's filming solo with Joe. These feel like forced interactions, #Pump Rules. And so I thought about this, because when I first read it, I was like, oh, that's really interesting. Like, is LaLa doing everything that production is telling her to do or suggesting for her to do to remain on the show or to remain in a lot of scenes of the show and things like that? And I was like, this is interesting. And I was talking to my best friend, Tanya Jean. So for those of you that don't know, I have been sober for over 29 years. I'm actively in a 12-step program, and my best friend is also sober as well. And she shared that in videos and has no problem with me talking about it. So a lot of what we talk about when we talk about reality shows like The Housewives and things like that is the excessive amount of drinking. And we talk about it kind of like from a recovery point of view, because that's the language that we speak. And so we were talking about LaLa on the show. And I have to say, LaLa is somebody that when she first came on Vanderpump Rules, I did not love LaLa. I adore LaLa now. I really, really like her. And I feel like she's gone through a lot. I think she gives mixed messages. It's like Ariana can't be upset with Tom Sandoval for what he did, but she wants everybody. You know, there's a lot of different things there, but I think it's different circumstances as well, and I'm not making excuses for LaLa. But the one thing about LaLa that I've noticed as a person in recovery that's actively in a 12-step program and works a recovery program, and that's not the only way to get sober. There's a lot of ways to get sober, so that's just the way that I choose to stay sober. But LaLa has made it very clear that she's in a 12-step program. What's interesting when you listen to LaLa talk about her recovery on the show as a recovery person is that there are certain things that she does, okay? So in a 12-step program, we have this set of things that are called traditions. And there's ways that you don't violate traditions by talking about this and talking about that. And they talk about media press, right? That you're allowed to share your own recovery story. You're allowed to talk about this and whatever. And like Tanya has shared her recovery story in my videos. And so she's like, you can say I'm sober and whatever. But like you can share your own recovery story, but you're not a representative of any 12-step program, right? Like that's very important. So you wouldn't say like, as a group, we believe. Like, you would never say that. Well, when you watch LaLa talk as a person in recovery on the show, she's very careful at that. She does an excellent job of not violating traditions on the show. You can tell she's in it to win it. You can tell by the language that she uses, the words that she says when she talks about sponsorship, when she talks about this, when she talks about that, she talks about meetings. You know, you can tell it the way that she talks about it. I've seen on other reality shows when people like in her 12-step program, they'll call them classes instead of meetings. She uses the appropriate language, okay? There is nobody that is in a recovery, works a 12-step program that watches LaLa on Vanderpump Rules that wouldn't be saying the same thing that I am. That you can tell that LaLa absolutely 100% works a 12-step program. And so I'm sitting there, I'm talking to my friend Tanya Jean about it the other night because she also watches Vanderpump Rules. And I'm like, you know, and I read her this thing and I said, it's interesting that people are saying that she's a production puppet. Because that, yes, that could be true. Or is it something deeper? Or is LaLa really struggling with the fact that she is a sober person in recovery, that much of what we talk about is removing resentment, you know, making amends for a past. And when you do that, you kind of see the world through that lens, and you want to do that for other people as well, you know, and you want to work on forgiveness with people, and you want to work on their relationships. You want to give people second chances. You do that because you wanted that for yourself. And I see that a lot in LaLa. I see that, and we had a very lengthy conversation. I wouldn't say that, and maybe Tanya and I will make that video sometime. She didn't 100% agree with me, or, you know, or not agree with me. But from a recovery point of view, you know, as somebody that's done drama on a drama channel for 7 years, it has been a struggle for me at times, you know, as a person in recovery. And so I'm wondering if what we're seeing isn't necessarily that LaLa is a production puppet, more so than production is taking those moments of vulnerability of LaLa's when she's struggling with, how do I remain in this friend group, this very toxic friend group, when I am trying to grow and change as a person? And you can see it because she almost combusts at times, right? I've been there in my life. People think that just because you're sober that you're constantly peaceful and even keeled and all. That's just not the case, right? I mean, we have blow-ups and we lose our minds and things like that too, you know? And so that's an unfair thing to put on LaLa just because she's sober. But I am almost kind of wondering if LaLa, as a recovering sober person, that's now, like, you can tell there's a huge difference between when she first got sober and now. Like, she's in it now, right? And so you almost kind of wonder, like, and I know a lot of women like LaLa that are in recovery. I mean, she reminds me of a lot of friends of mine. And so I'm wondering, is she in this friend group and she's like, okay, like, as a person in recovery that has been given other chances and has worked on myself, like, I want to give James other chances. I want to give Sandoval other chances, and, you know, whatever. whatever. I want Ariana to move through the pain. I don't want her to stay stuck in the pain. You know, I want to give Rachel the opportunity to share her side of the story with me because I want to be able to share my side of the story with other people. You start looking at the world that way. And so I'm kind of wondering if LaLa isn't struggling with that. If LaLa, as a sober person, isn't struggling with remaining in this toxic friend group, which in all reality, the reality show, I don't think I could be on Vanderpump Rules with everything that goes on because I would just kind of like leave it. I can't be in that chaos anymore. It's just not healthy for me. And so I would have to just constantly be around. Well, you have to show up to these things to be on this reality show, right? Which therefore, that would be a healthy move for her to move over to the Valley. I just don't know that the Valley is going to exist, right? If LaLa and Sheena moved over to the Valley and then it was Kristen and Jax, I think that those 4 people from Vanderpump Rules could make the Valley last over time, possibly, because it's old cast members and what are they doing today. I think that's what they should have done with Vanderpump Rules all along. But do I think that Vanderpump Rules is necessarily a good fit with all this toxicity and all these people? I mean, Tom Schwartz is somebody that for me, like, one season I love him, the next season I don't. But, like, he still seems to be trying to figure out things. I mean, we're talking about people that are over 40 years old, right? And they're, like, still, like, you know, really struggling with just life things. And she's trying to move through, do the best job that she can. And, you know, if she tries to mend fences with somebody, it's like then Ariana, if she's trying to make, you know, hear Tom Sandoval out or hear Joe's side, then Katie's mad at her or then Ariana's mad at her. And she's like, listen, I don't have to explain myself to anybody. Like, I'm just trying to do the best that I can do as a human being on this earth. And I really, that's what I witnessed from LaLa as a person in recovery. I relate to that a lot, you know? So maybe production is taking those pieces and using them for production value. That could be. I don't know that I necessarily feel that, and I usually agree with Queens of Bravo, I don't know that I necessarily agree that LaLa Kent is a production puppet. What I think is that she is a sober person trying to survive in this very toxic group, and she's doing the best that she can. And so, in all honesty, you're seeing like all this toxicity over here, and this one person that's trying to be as healthy as she possibly can survive in this environment, and it's just, it's not working, and she doesn't know how to make it work. And I think that's a lot of what we're seeing. So anyway, that's just my point of view. I wanted to share that with you guys as a sober person watching reality shows. You know, I have my own thoughts about all the drinking that occurs in the Housewives and things like that. I mean, I think it's breeding grounds for problem drinking and things like that. I have a lot of issues with that. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.